And so here's part of the punchline. And I don't know when we talk about these big numbers, particularly in a time of inflation, we often use, oh, that's $1 trillion. The more elegant way, the way if we were all officially economists, went out and got our PhD, you would talk about a percentage of the economy because that stays constant. So you can have lots of inflation, a little inflation, but the percentage of the economy that's going to debt servicing, that's going to borrowing. We were projected in 9 years to be about 7.5% of the economy being borrowed. Okay, so you sort of see over here, this is just the running borrowing chart. We had that huge spike substantially because of COVID spending. But in 2023, we were supposed to be at 7.5% of the economy, the entire economy, United States government, federal government would be borrowing. But we're only growing at about 1.8. So you remember that delta, the simple math, 1.8, and over here you're borrowing 7.5. But if we go back, sorry, let's see if I can grab this chart without breaking myself. If you go back to what Bloomberg said, they're economists, in 10 years, that's not 7.5% of the economy being borrowed, that's 13. You're growing at 1.8 and you're borrowing 13% of the economy. This is Armageddon and it's in the 10-year window. And the clown show around here is either terrified to talk about it or we're going to make up numbers. Unless you see budget documents talking about dramatically changing the cost of health care, this starts to become real. And all of a sudden, running 7.5% of the economy in borrowing will look good. Because if we get up near 13% in a 10-year window, you think we're going to have money for defense? You think you're going to have money for education? You think you're going to have money for research? Where are you going to have any cash at all? You're going to be struggling for every dime you have to keep the retirement security benefits. It's math. It's demographics. What is the primary driver of U.S. debt? Demographics. We got old. Today, for every dollar we spend on young people, we spend $5 on seniors. In the 70s, for every $5 we spent on young people, we spent $1 on seniors. It flipped because those young people were the baby boomers, and they've moved through the python, and now they're here. And we still have about, 6 more years of baby boomers moving into retirement? So what's the number? Like 10,300 Americans turn 65 every day. So many of us, we weren't giddy, but we were pleased we had started to make, and understand, the debt ceiling deal is actually the largest cut in U.S. history. You wouldn't hear that from the propagandists who are trying to raise money from scaring the crap out of you, but it is. So we went from 119% of GDP down to 113. Think of that. If that's our new base, 113, 114. Our math in our office was 114. And I'm not even sure. This is Center for Responsible Budget. They had us down to 113. But our math in our office is, okay, we picked up about 4 points of GDP in reduction in spending. And just the higher interest rates consume maybe 2-3 times that savings.